What's up, YouTube? Another video for you today, and I like doing videos like the one I'm about to do. Basically, I spend a lot of time looking around the internet for cool knives, and I click on a lot of stuff that's just like, initially when you look at it, it's like, you know, it's cool, but damn if they would have done it this way, or damn if they would have done it that way. And I love those type of knives because usually they're not so expensive, and with a little bit of work, a little bit of planning, you can make them into something really cool, something original that nobody else has. I mean, something really cool where people are just like, what is that? That's really cool. And there's a funny term, and you guys may be familiar with it, but I heard it a lot in Florida, where I'm from. I live in Washington now. It's called making chicken soup out of chicken shit. Please excuse my language, but that's just a term. It's just taking something that is really not so great, or that needs some improvement, and going ahead, putting some elbow grease into it, doing some modifications, thinking outside the box, and really turning it into something special. And I love doing that with knives, and I think by doing that, it's actually helped me a lot as far as designing a lot of my custom stuff and getting myself ready to actually make custom stuff. By going through resurfacing, reshaping stuff, and you develop, you know, once you start to figure out the lines and stuff that really are appealing to you, the more you draw them, the more you actually make them, you develop a muscle memory, and that's how you develop your style. When you start to draw your own stuff, a lot of stuff that you see and you like, from all different aspects of what knives or whatever, just seems to go together into creating your own individual style. So basically, you know, that's what I do. I'm influenced by a lot of different knife makers, and I just go ahead and I like what they, you know, I like some of the stuff they do, and then some of the stuff I do, and I kind of jumble it up with my own little taste, and then before I know it, I make something completely that's my own. So anyway, 2 minutes into rambling on, and I haven't shown you a knife yet. All you see is a drawing in front of you. Okay, recently, I was hunting around, and I've been on this fixed blade knife fix lately. I've just been totally obsessed with fixed blades. Don't ask me why. Big choppers, something, a lot of steel, really big, menacing, whatever. So in front of you, you have a drawing. And basically, this was the outline drawing of a knife that I picked up at knifedepot.com called the Defender Bowie. Alright, now the Defender Bowie, the handle of it is reminiscent to your BK7s, BK9s, your Beckers. You know, basically, this handle shape right here. So basically, it screams Becker. I mean, this is just your, you know, really simple, no frills handle design. Pretty much can fit all hands and configurations. You know, really good design because it's a kind of a universal shape that will feel comfortable to most people. So basically, this is the handle you had on it. It had, the blade was straight across. I don't know if you can see this here. Kind of hard to see through the viewfinder, but basically the dotted lines indicate where what the original shape of the knife is. And you can see if I went ahead and did a drop point on it, and I went ahead and dropped it a little bit there to go ahead and introduce a thumb ramp for ergonomics. I changed and took off a lot of steel off the handle to make it more ergonomic for me, and I still wanted to keep that generalized kind of shape to it, so that not only it feels good for me, it feels good for people with maybe smaller hands or larger hands. So, and that's pretty much what I do, or what I did with this. So I'll take the knife and I trace it out, and then I draw it, and I mess around with it, and I create somewhat of a blueprint before I even get started with anything to see and maximize the potential of the project I'm going to do. So, you know, kind of think it out, get my mind going, look at it for a couple days, tweak it here and there depending, and this is it. So now that I'm 4 minutes in and haven't even shown you a knife, let me show you what I did. First off, handles. Here you go. The knife itself was, the blade stock was probably about 3/16 thick. These are the handles. The handles alone right now are about 1 inch thick on their own. Yep, 1 inch thick on their own. 1/16 once they're mounted on there. This right here, unless you have some big giant long fingers, or if you're a basketball player and got long fingers, this may be comfortable, but this is just, it had to go. And not to mention, with the blade being 3/16, it made the knife unbalanced. Way too much handle for the thickness of the knife. You know, just way too much. These had to go. Basically, cheap wood handles, no good. The sheath that it came with was a left-handed sheath. crazy. It didn't mention it in the ad or anything like that or the description at Knife Depot. Really cheap sheath, no good. And it was left-handed, very, no retention whatsoever besides a little Velcro strap there. Not that great. It had to go. Alright, the knife itself. First off, let's take a look at her. The sheath I made for it, Kydex. Molded it in there. Basically, 2 Chicago screws for the belt loop. I designed this, I made this belt loop deal with larger carry knives in mind. Basically, because if I put a tech lock here, this hand will be riding right on your hip, and because this knife is right around 15 inches, it's a pain in the ass to deploy. You have to pull a lot of knife up above your hip area, which kind of makes your arm kind of contort and get all funny, and it's not comfortable at all. It'll take you a minute longer to go ahead and deploy the knife. So what I went ahead and did is added a few inches with these 2 Cordura snaps, or Cordura straps, put the belt loop snap there, and then went ahead and attached the factory button snap that came off the old sheath right there so I can retain the knife. Does it need it? No, not really. It just makes it easier when I go to hang it and this is stored, because the retention on the sheath right there does it good enough. Let's take a look at the knife. Alright, a little oily, you can see there. So basically that's the finished design there. You can see all the modifications are exactly to my drawings and how I intended it, because basically like I said, I had a game plan, it looked good, and I wanted to go with it. Went with we got earth brown and black G10. I think it's earth brown, and with just mild patterning on here. I went ahead and I shaped the handle or contoured the handle prior to doing the design. I really wanted to slim it up and make it really feel nice in the hand, and then I came back with the pattern. And it's heavily sanded and smooth, so that way, because this pattern right here does have some sharp edges, so I always go over and make sure I take it down quite a bit so it's not an issue. Instead of adding jimping to the blade, I added jimping to the scales, so you still have jimping, but yet it's basically nice and smooth until pressure is added to the thumb ramp, and then you actually feel the jimping on the scale, and then it's engaged, as you can see there. There you go, there's a handle. You can see very slim design. Super ergonomic. I could choke up here. I could even get up here with this thumb ramp, which is awesome. So if I'm doing small chopping tasks, feathering wood, doing whatever, I now have the added control of my thumb above the handle to go ahead and do that, which is pretty awesome. The blade was black finish. I went ahead and stripped the finish, acid washed it, and left the black finish on the hollow grind. Now as you can see here, some of the finish is coming off, but I'm not concerned with it, because as I'm using it, this black finish will probably end up coming off. And what's underneath it is the satin finish before, so it's going to end up turning from acid wash gray to black, from acid wash gray to a satin finish there. Who knows, I may re-dip it in the future. Swapped out the hardware, put some trim pieces there just to kind of finalize and tighten up the whole look to it. The thickness of the handle now is at a measly, let me take a measurement, it's about ½ inch. It's a ½ inch wide. So basically right now I got a good purchase. My fingers go completely around there. It is not going anywhere, even through the back. With gloves, whatever. If you have larger hands, it being ½ inch may not be too comfortable for you because it is kind of narrow, but I don't think so. I think it'll work out well. So that's pretty much it. Defender Bowie, Knife Depot. Like I said, making chicken soup out of chicken shit. Not that the original design wasn't cool, they just needed some refinements. The handles was a little fat, and I just wanted to, I just didn't want to change the handle shape. I wanted to go ahead and do a drop point to it, kind of make it a little bit more my own, kind of like a, with the recurve, it kind of got a little bit of hint of kukri maybe. Not really that arched belly or the angle there, but the recurve looks nice. So I don't know exactly what style of a fixed blade this is. I just went ahead and ground it. So figured I'd share this with you guys. So some of the stuff I get into in my downtime, from getting knives or doing stuff like that, just trying to make stuff just a little cooler, make it my own. So thanks for tuning in, guys. I appreciate it. Remember, it's a Defender Bowie from Knife Depot, and it didn't look like this. When you see it, it's not going to look anything like this, but it's still from the factory, about 30 bucks or so. It's not a bad It's not a bad machete. It's a little thicker than a machete, but not quite as thick as a chopper. The weight is, this right now, the way it is, the weight is very nice. It's very comfortable. It is blade heavy, so it's definitely a better chopping knife, or suited more for chopping. And overall comfortable with the handle mod. So guys, thanks for tuning in, appreciate it. Got any questions, let me know. New subscribers, thanks for tuning in. Old subscribers, thanks for hanging in there, really appreciate it. And you guys have a good one, man. Peace. Take a look at that.